question of worth, because we trade all the time. We trade some money or some electronic debit dots or whatever they are, electrons. We're going to trade some of those for some dog food. I'm going to run a book challenge in a week, the 11th. And if you haven't signed up, I don't know why. DreamBuildWriteIt.com. Your story is money. Your life is cash. It is influence and power. If you haven't written the book that is the story of your becoming, and I don't mean a memoir, the actual story of your becoming, of who you are today and what you stand for and why, you're leaving your best asset on the table. But that's separate. But I would encourage you to go there. Anyway, let's talk about a question of worth. So if I go to the dog food store and they're suddenly charging me 10 times or 100 times as much for stuff I bought last week for a much less price, it's not going to be worth that. I'll go to a different store. Okay? If I'm somewhere where I'm out of oxygen, I saw that series For All Mankind on I forgot what channel a year or so ago, and I think some of the episodes have just come back with a new series. In the early stages, when they were just getting to the moon, there was a time when, somebody ran out of oxygen or something, and they were in space or on the moon, but without oxygen. In that case, it's worth anything, because it is essential. I want to talk about your worth. Now, I have a 5-part framework, WIPOS, worth, identity, possibility, ownership, and sovereignty. But we're not going to talk about all that today. Worth. Worth is a subjective thing. A room full of air, when you're on a planet with plenty of air, is not worth much. A room full of air, when you're on the moon and suffocating, is worth anything. Your own personal life is that way. The story that you've lived in a certain context isn't valuable except for the fact that it shaped you. And so it's infinitely valuable to you. In another context, it might be valuable to every single person in the room. So, for example, in August, I'm going to Seattle to speak at an event about dying, near-death studies. International Association of Near-Death Studies holds an annual event. I've been selected to one of the keynotes or one of the speakers. And my story and what I'm going to teach there about how to make the most of one of those extraordinary experiences is going to be worth a lot, because people that come to that conference are looking for that kind of information, insight, and experience. If I went to Saturday night to the bar, the story wouldn't be worth anything to them. To me, in every circumstance, it was life-changing. I died in 2018. I had some conversations with God, and I chose to return. That has shaped everything about my life, which is why your story is the most important gift that you have. Regardless of what you think you are worth, almost always what we're doing is we are comparing it to what other people think. They think I'm not valuable. They wouldn't give me the time of day. The truth that always is with you is that your worth is infinite. You cannot put a number on your worth. You're a divine being created by the Creator. God, I call that. You can call it universe or universal, whatever you want. But your worth is infinite. There cannot be a value placed on it. Now, when we have wrongful deaths, we pay somebody a bunch of money, $1, 100,000, $1 million, or some number. And that isn't a value of life or their worth. It's simply a substitute so that we can do something, remove or reduce or soften the tragedy, the trauma, the inconvenience, whatever it is for that person being gone. So setting aside all that, your worth is infinite. Now, if you don't know that, if that truth doesn't live in your cells, then you don't love yourself, right? Because if you think your worth is small, then by definition, or it follows, you don't love yourself much because you're not worth much. Neither of those should be true. Your worth is infinite, and that is a settled question. I don't care what we think about it. Our worth is infinite. And I want you to just hear and know that. And the reason that's so important isn't just sit around and say, okay, I'm infinite. Yeah, I'm worth infinity. It gives a platform from which you can develop self-love. Self-love is not indulgence. It is not excess. It is not downplaying other people, but it is the powerful platform from which you can walk through the life you have, whatever it is, whatever the features are, the struggles, the good stuff, but you can do it from a place of learning to love others. You cannot love someone else more than you love yourself. You can go through the motions and do stuff for them, but it'll be out of duty, obligation, or resentment, or a bunch of other things, and it won't be a soul-fulfilling exercise. Loving yourself is the highest form of devotion. It is honoring your Creator. It has everything to do with your relationship with the divine. It has everything to do with intuition and creativity and power and ability to create money and adding good to the world. Now, there's lots of grumpy or bad ways that people create money. I know that. But they're not satisfying and they don't last. So you and me, we're talking about ultimate life kind of money, right? I don't mean ultimate rich. I mean the life of purpose and prosperity and joy. I just got through doing an interview, podcast interview with a fabulous guy, lives in Colorado, and he is helping people reclaim the wholeness of life, both physical health and emotional and all kinds of things, but really focused on the physical container, functional medicine and the whole all of it, you know, your genetics test and the crazy lab stuff about metals and things that are in our body, but discovering those and then being armed with the information to do what you need to do to have a physical equivalent of joy all the time, because your body's as healthy as it can possibly be. Your spirit. Now, we didn't talk about this on this particular podcast because his emphasis is on the body and the mind and the hormones and the glands and all of the different pieces of it, bloodstream, the gut, and the genetics and all the rest. There is a spiritual analog because we all know we're not just a body. There is an energetic portion, the spirit, if you will. That needs to be cared for and be healthy as well. And it needs different nutrients. Taking care of that is an essential element of self-love. It is a demonstration of your worth. I want to tell you without question or hesitation, you are of infinite worth. I want to tell you without hesitation that I love you. You are a divine being, and I honor everything you have done and everything you're doing now to add good to the world and to make the place better and softer and more tolerant and loving and kind. And I never mean like being a doormat or not setting boundaries. I'm talking about that. I'm talking about the truth of your heart. That's why I also know that the story of your becoming is so valuable. So I want to invite you to do two things. One, own as a fact your worth. And as a corollary to that, take specific actions every single morning to love yourself so that someone watching or listening to you, if they were a fly on the wall or in your mind, they would know this person honors and loves themselves. The second invitation is to go right now to dreambuildwriteit.com and take a look. I think it's time for you to consider the story of your own becoming. Because who you are is fabulous. Sharing it makes it more fabulous. And it then becomes of service to those around you. Dreambuildwriteit.com. Join me. It's in 11 days, Monday the 11th, an hour a day. Bless your heart. You are of infinite worth. We'll see you tomorrow.